There isn't a woman alive who can hang with Dakota Ditcheva in the cage. She's a master striker with knockout ability at every range, and she holds the type of power that can end a fight in a split second. This is Fighting Is Art. Let's go. On April 10th, 2012, Dakota Ditcheva stepped into the MMA cage for the first time to make her professional debut. And for Jenny Line, she was being offered up as a sacrificial lamb here. She just didn't know it yet. She was getting paid to be a glorified punching bag for one of the best prospects in MMA.
Ding, ding.
Dakota knew she wouldn't need that long to deal with this opponent, and so she decided to turn on her offense straight away.
Nice little jab, nice head kick. Oh, she's wobbled her.
She did.
Line could do little more than stand there, biting on every feint that Dakota threw her way, falling into every trap.
Stuck with, switched again, just as I was going to say, she looks like she's sticking with this stance.
Very cool.
Stepping into range with powerful elbows, Dakota was absolutely merciless on the inside.
Sweet from here.
Oh, what an elbow.
The
And
tie
again.
background now,
And
the
again.
elbow's going in here.
Oh.
I think Jenny's
There are levels to the striking game, and that's what Dakota was proving tonight.
Jenny trying to cut,
And again.
cut off.
She's gone down.
Dakota drags her to the floor.
Eventually, Dakota let her back up, welcoming her back into the striking realm with the finish now front and center in her mind.
Yeah, like I say, the tie background, she'll be used to throwing elbows. She wound up with that. I thought she was going to...
Line could do absolutely nothing but stand there and take it, a sitting duck for whatever strike Dakota decided to hurt her with. And this time, she chose something flashy.
Oh,
spinning elbow.
Oh, wow. Oh, knee. She drops.
It's a masterclass.
This fight wasn't even competitive. Patricia Borges was truly up against it in this fight. There's no other way to say it. Dakota came out with her usual intensity straight off the bat, and wisely, Borges tried to clinch with her immediately.
UK and European star Dakota Ditcheva representing Manchester top team. Oh, push kick to the face.
All Borges could really do here was stall Dakota and pray that her cardio wasn't up to the challenge.
It's been almost impossible to get her fights. That's why they're flying in opponents from round.
Right now, Ditcheva just needed to remain calm and fight her way into a stronger position.
Really tough carry eyes on, and you know, he's not exactly a cue to fight.
Borges was threatening with submissions, but even at this early stage, Dakota's BJJ was strong enough to allow her to defend.
Just the top team because she has one of the most perfect role models. Oh, heel hook potential.
Needs the roll to her.
And as soon as she felt comfortable tangling with her opponent's grappling, defense turned to offense, and in the blink of an eye, momentum was shifting.
Just roll the leg out, heavy on the leg. Oh, big elbows coming through it.
And before Borges knew what was going on, Ditcheva caused her plan to backfire with a brutal TKO finish.
Right shot.
Yeah, the referee's keeping an eye on
Yeah,
this as
and
well.
now just covering up
Oh
this
my
Patricia
goodness,
Borges.
this could be it.
She needs to do something.
Dakota Ditcheva with the finish.
Would Hassna Jabber's experience and age advantage help her in a contest with the bona fide wrecking machine who stood in front of her? Well, she certainly didn't look fazed, but who knows if that was going to count for anything in the end.
Out of Rabat, Morocco, this Hassna Jabber!
Dakota was making her debut in the PFL here and very clearly wanted to come out of this fight with a huge statement win.
5 pounds. Looks outside of the...
Her distance control, the rangy kicks, the speed, and accuracy, all of the hallmarks of her game were already on full display.
Throwing some serious bombs, overhand shots.
Dakota was controlling the tempo and was clearly never too far away from a huge offensive burst.
Nice slip and rip there from Dakota. Push kick drops, Hassna Jabber, and then the right.
And eventually, when the kill shot came, Jabber signaled to the ref that she was done, totally uninterested in finding out what happens next.
Jabber looking out of her element here. She's hurt to the body. That's it. The end of the fight.
Would Katherine Corines fare any better than Dakota's last opponents? Well, if we were betting on the fight, we'd be inclined to say no. Ditcheva came out there with the confidence of a champion, long before she'd be within touching distance of the belt.
Ditcheva switches stances after that.
The clinch has always shown itself to be a real bright spot in Ditcheva's arsenal, and yet so many opponents feel safe there.
To Coconut Creek, American top team. Conan Silvera is in her corner, as is her brother.
We were slowly seeing Dakota establish herself as a true mixed martial artist in these fights, not merely a kickboxer.
As well, now trying to push the arm, and she will land knees with the quickness. saw in her last fight.
You could really see the evolution of her takedown defense in real time. She had clearly been putting in those hard hours in the gym.
Very good, Chris.
In and out, in and out.
Who's the cage? Who's the cage? Who's the cage?
Whatever Corines' game plan was coming in, it was utterly falling apart in front of our eyes.
Of course, Gina's now. Gina's doing a great job of staying, keeping her back against.
Eventually, Dakota found her moment and proceeded to put her rival away like it was little more than a casual day at the gym.
With a front and a right hand.
See that right hand straight away. He tells me how much power's in that right hand every session, and I'm starting to believe it myself.
Sweden's Malin Hermanson came in looking mean and ready to fight, but this wasn't going to end well for her. Any hardcore fans tuning in for this one knew that the idea of an upset was highly unlikely, and in reality, Malin would be lucky to last a single round.
No touch of the glove.
Controlling the distance was key at first for Dakota. She's a fighting supercomputer, and for her, making reads as early as possible will always be crucial. As usual, her first offensive statement in the fight was a big one, and Hermanson felt her power pretty early on. The sign of a truly great fighter is the ability to add new facets to their game all the time. And here, we got to see Dakota's wrestling game come to the fore.
She creates just a little bit of space.
Ditcheva was clearly not interested in rushing, and for her, every second spent on the ground was valuable in-fight experience.
2 split decisions earlier in the night in the flyweight division.
Patience and comfort in your secondary skill set is something that has to be earned, but even here, Dakota barely looked worried. All she needed to do was wait for her opening.
Good job from her man.
And in that moment, any hopes that the rest of the division had for proving Dakota was one dimension died. That's what you call a supremely well-rounded fighter, folks. Danielle Scatitzi had the love of the Dublin crowd behind her as she stepped in there with Dakota to try and upset the odds. But Ditcheva, despite being newer to MMA, was a lifelong fighter at heart, and the bright lights never seemed to faze her all that much.
Dakota in the red, Valentina in the gray. Sean O'Connell, Brendan Loughnane.
Dakota was clearly getting confident in her adaptation to the MMA world, and so she seemed pretty comfortable turning up the heat more and more on Scatitzi as the fight went on.
Seeing the southpaw stance coming out aggressive.
Scatitzi, in some ways, probably had the right game plan, but trying to pressure a counter-striker like Dakota can be an absolute death sentence if you're not on their level.
I think this is the only way that Scatitzi can win this. Make it there. Oh, lovely front kick. Score.
We've said it before and we'll say it again. There are levels to this.
Got to get around these legs. Oh, knees. This clinched knee is we saw Dakota Ditcheva finish.
Scatitzi would do little more than try to delay what was coming, because at range, Dakota was eating her up like a freshly cooked meal.
I mean, it's a good game plan from Scatitzi. It's the way she's got to win.
If we've proven one thing in this video so far, it's that Dakota is no slouch when it comes to fighting off a determined wrestler.
There's that strength he talks about, Brendan.
Exactly.
Good work by Dakota maintaining.
All of a sudden, there was a tension in the arena's air as the crowd realized their fighter was doomed.
Oh, nice right hand.
That was clean. That beautiful from Dakota. Beautiful pop.
Each passing second brought Scatitzi's chances to an even smaller chance.
By Valentina Scatitzi, a lot of effort expended to try and get Dakota down.
The damage done by Dakota was so great in that opening round that the doctor decided to save Scatitzi from a far worse fate, calling off the fight.
At 5 minutes of a round number 1. Declaring it by
Lisa Malden was next in line for Dakota in a fight that would serve as Ditcheva's second bout on U.S. soil. Malden put on her mean face and paced the cage in a threatening manner, but that didn't mean anything was going to come of it.
California, Lisa Malden.
She was greeted by a rather happy-looking Dakota Ditcheva, one who didn't seem like she had a care in the world.
That's 5 feet 8 inches tall. She went in officially at 120.
With the odds makers declaring Ditcheva to be a huge betting favorite, the question here was whether she could be as dominant as their predictions suggested.
Minus 4,500 favorite as this fight begins.
Early pressure was clearly part of the game plan here for Ditcheva, and Malden seemed willing to accept it.
Oh, Overhead left.
If one thing was for certain, it's that Dakota looked sharp, and she was ready to pounce on any openings that Malden gave her.
The speed of Dakota Ditcheva on display. Nasty combination.
Dakota might not be known for her top game, but her ability to hammer her prey with ground and pound was very noticeably getting better.
You saw the smile on Dakota Ditcheva's face as she heard a couple of boo birds when she walked out, as she is fighting in a...
Even though Malden was avoiding getting chewed up by kicks at range, this was definitely not an ideal position for her to be in.
Good pressure here against the small...
These mid-tier fighters just seem to freeze up in front of Ditcheva. It's as if they have no idea what's coming next.
Now, right hand there from Dakota. That's it.
And when Malden started to break, Dakota turned up the intensity and started to punish her.
Rips to the body by... Oh, big knee! She's in trouble!
That's the end!
She's in big trouble!
Potentially, she's hammered!
It's actually surprising that she managed to survive as long as she did, and perhaps the ref or her corner should have stepped in.
She's going to be finished with no quit in this woman. Another knee to the midsection. Left hand coming down from the top.
But eventually, Dakota got the job done, utterly breaking her down until the TKO was clear.
Ditcheva asked her to stand back up. More body shots. This one
Would Chelsea Hackett be the one to finally disrupt this hype train? Well, given that she had only fought 7 times as a pro, she was up against it. And Dakota was truly looking especially confident during her fighter introduction, as if she was enjoying every second of the build-up. It wasn't just experience deficits that Hackett was hoping to overcome. No, she was pretty much outgunned by Dakota in every key physical and technical category.
Black kid Chelsea Hackett with that push kick in the white. Straight away.
And like so many others who try to hold Ditcheva up against the fence, this was a stalling tactic and nothing more.
Hand control by Ditcheva. Hackett with a hook.
Ditcheva just had to be patient, something she was getting progressively better at.
Behind Dakota. Dakota's trying to dig that left elbow in, trying to turn herself to...
Dakota was very noticeably learning to play the MMA game, not panicking when fighters tried to force her into disadvantageous positions.
Work here by Chelsea Hackett to keep Dakota Ditcheva defensive in this position. So many opponents.
Hackett wasn't the one in control of this fight's direction. Ditcheva was.
Dakota Ditcheva and Chelsea Hackett. Ditcheva makes the playoffs with a win of any kind.
Ditcheva was very clearly already UFC ready. She just needed to keep scoring these wins, and eventually, the whole world would be calling on Dana White to sign her.
Those knees are brutal.
Oh, nasty combination. Really hurt. And the body work, and that'll do it.
Gina Bishop was the fighter standing between Dakota and her pursuit of the $1 million PFL Grand Prix jackpot. And with more eyes on her than ever before, if you thought that Dakota would wilt under the pressure, think again.
Keys to victory for Dakota. Hold the center. It's going to be easier to defend the takedowns.
With so much on the line, it was understandable that Dakota took her time in feeling out her opponent's range.
Gina Bishop in the blue.
Putting a single foot wrong in this fight could have a career-altering impact, and so Ditcheva needed to fight with a certain amount of maturity.
From her side, but still the body shot is open.
But she also knew that getting put in a bad position was by no means the end of the world.
And this is really what people wanted to see from Dakota. The questions weren't around whether she's a dangerous striker.
What happened next was nothing short of a massacre. Dakota did not need a second invitation once she found her moment.
We had Dakota in the parlay, and also we threw a little sprinkle on by TKO.
And from there, Bishop was in all kinds of trouble.
The confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable.
There might not be a more violent fighter in women's MMA today than Dakota Ditcheva. They call her dangerous for a reason.
Gina Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack. Bishop in trouble, and that does it!
You can see the labors of a life spent training in striking. She's got a level of fluidity that any fighter would kill for.
But that knee right there on the button dropped her straight to her knees. Perfect shot, little ham.
And we can guarantee you that Gina Bishop has never encountered an opponent like her before.
Straight in the forehead, that puts her down again, and the referee steps in.
But just how far do you think Dakota Ditcheva goes until she finds herself up against someone who gives her a challenge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.